to the Arc Hour podcast. I'm your host, Victor Arcadia, and this is my guest, Franklyn Anderson.
Hello, hello.
And today we'll be talking a little bit about the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Franklyn, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm 28, and I've been told that I literally came out of the womb with a controller in my hand. Yeah, I've been playing games for that long.
Okay.
I wish I was been playing Zelda that long, but things happen.
Well, what was one of the first games that you played?
One of the very first games I ever played?
Yeah.
The original Super Mario Brothers.
Okay.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I would watch my cousin play it, and whenever she would get to Bowser's Castle, I don't know why, but little Franklyn was always terrified of Bowser. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was young. Who knows? One of my favorite games of all time is Super Mario Brothers 3.
Okay. And how old were you when you played the first Mario game?
Probably about 1 or 2. Yeah,
Wow.
I didn't know what I was doing, but I picked up that controller and I was pressing buttons and I was doing things.
And you said one of your favorite games was Super Mario 3?
Yes.
Well, tell me a little bit about that. Your experience playing that game.
Super Mario Brothers 3. Whenever I played that game, it was always a magical experience. It was one of the few games that me and my sister, who's a non-gamer, would actually play together, and we would just have fun. I remember all the times when we would get to like World 7 and the cartridge for some reason would just stop working, and I would incessantly blow on it to get it to work, and we'd have to start over again. But I always had a lot of fun.
Okay. Did you have any difficulty playing the game?
When I was younger, yeah. When I was younger, I had to use the warp whistles to kind of get around, but the older I got, the more I thought, well, I don't need warp whistles. I'm older now. Let's just try and go through this in one go.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, let's just say, other than Super Mario World and maybe Twilight Princess, is one of the most beaten games in my personal pantheon of games.
Okay. You were talking about Twilight Princess for a sec. How old were you when you played that?
Well, I believe I was 17, 18 when I played it. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of the gifted ones who had the Wii version, so I had to settle for the GameCube version.
What are you talking about? That's like the best one. I played it
I
too.
don't know. Depending on who you ask, they might say the Wii version is the better one, but I personally think it's the GameCube version because, you know, it's Link in his purest form, left-handed, so...
I agree completely.
And that became the first, and to this date, the first Zelda game that I ever 100%.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was the first one.
And how long did that take you?
About a month.
About a month.
About a month. But I'll let you in on a little secret. One of my cousins for Christmas got me the Twilight Princess strategy guide, so I kind of had a bit of a leg up.
So you found all the pose and everything.
I know, heresy, but...
I think it's fine. It helps, you know. It helps. It certainly helps completionists, you know what I mean?
Yes, and then when I went to the Wii version, it was all in my memory, so it was simple.
Just mirrored, right? Just everything was mirrored.
Just everything was mirrored.
Right.
Just like mirror mode in Mario Kart. Instead of going left, you're going right, and so forth. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
on.
Well, what did you think initially playing Twilight Princess? How did you feel about it?
When I was going through it, the first thing that went to my mind was, wow, this feels so much bigger, so much better than Wind Waker was.
Okay.
And the more I went through it, the more my thoughts about it were justified. I was like, wow, this is probably one of the best games I've ever played in my life. Jesus, this game is great. But of course, you know, the passage of time, I still really love the game.
Right.
But I've realized some of the flaws that are in the game. Like,
Well, give me an example.
Why does it take me like 3 hours to get my sword? Just why? Why?
I don't know. Maybe it was something they were. Maybe they were trying to build it up so that the sword is something more epic than it is. I don't really know.
Why, when we get to the middle of the game and it's time for me to get the Master Sword, why is there this unnecessary puzzle for me to get the sword? Just
Oh.
give me the sword already.
That puzzle was annoying.
Just give me what's rightfully mine already.
Right.
That's just how I felt.
But you get the sword pretty late in the game too. At least the Master Sword. I don't know, man. I didn't like the puzzles as well. At least that puzzle, to be honest with you.
Well, when it comes to Twilight Princess and getting the Master Sword, it was in the middle of the game, just like it was in Wind Waker, kind of like how it was in Ocarina of Time. That's when you know you hit the midpoint, and I'm like, okay, it's not like another game that came after Twilight Princess, but I'm not going to talk about that right now.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Where you literally get the sword pretty much at the end of the game, and I'm like, why? This game was wasting my time, but that's for another day.
Right. Okay, so what did you how did you feel about the music and the difficulty in Twilight Princess? Did you find it to be difficult?
The music was pretty good last I remember.
Okay.
It was good. It set the tone quite well. It fit each dungeon perfectly. There are some memorable things, like right now in my head, the Hyrule Field theme from Twilight Princess is just in my head. The opening theme is just hauntingly beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Just hauntingly so.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
When it comes to the game's difficulty, I didn't find it to be terribly difficult. I felt like it was just right in terms of difficulty.
Okay.
I felt like it could have been a little harder.
I agree.
Just a smidge harder. But other than that, after the cakewalk that was Wind Waker, it was a nice little difficulty spike.
Cakewalk.
Oh yeah. If for those of you who didn't know, Wind Waker was the beginning of the nerfing of the difficulty in Zelda, so people will actually finish the game.
Really?
Yes. It's
I guess looking back, you're right. It did seem a lot easier than Twilight Princess.
to give a quick summary. When they were looking at the analytics for everybody who played through Ocarina of Time, Miyamoto realized that only half of the people who bought the game actually played it all the way through and beat it. And he thought the problem was the difficulty, so...
You're talking about the Water Temple.
Yeah.
Honestly, to be honest with you, I really didn't find it that difficult. But then again, I didn't play Ocarina of Time as a child. In fact, I actually played Majora's Mask first, before Ocarina, so I don't know.
Count yourself lucky. Yeah. Count yourself lucky. I went through it. The first time I went through it, I was about 13. And I was this close to saying, screw this game myself. Because who develops a puzzle temple? Who does it? Oh, wait, I know who.
Miyamoto?
No, not Miyamoto. Eiji Aonuma, the producer of the Zelda series. He was the one who designed the Water Temple. And I polled like 10 people, and 8 of them said it was their least favorite dungeon in the entire game.
Right.
Whereas one said it was the Shadow Temple. I think another one said Spirit.
Okay.
But yeah, 8 out of 10.
Wow. I don't know. Maybe like I said, maybe it was just because I was older too. I was older too when I played that video game. But honestly, I think I didn't really have much difficulty in any of the games. I remember the Spirit Temple being pretty easy. That's the one where you're in the Gerudo Desert, right?
Yes.
Oh no, I don't remember it being that difficult at all.
Which is my second favorite dungeon in that game, by the way.
Is it because of what's her name, Neburu?
Yep. Neburu. And the fact that you go through it not just as a child, but as an adult as well.
That is true. I like that too.
I thought that was pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. I actually found, now that I'm looking back, I felt like the one that was a little more difficult for me, or more annoying for me was, I think it was the Forest Temple, where you have to beat all the ghosts, all the pogues.
Oh, yeah, the
really
Forest Temple. That one, that was another dungeon that almost made me say, screw this game. But then I realized that you could tackle the dungeons like kind of in any order that you want. So for me, until we got to the 3DS remake, I always went to the Fire Temple first. Okay. Then I would go back to the Forest Temple and do everything else.
Huh. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you can go in that order.
Yeah, you can go in any order that you want.
It's weird. I always thought of going to the first temple for me was always the forest.
Yeah, like that's the one that they push you to go to first, but you can technically do it out of order if you know what you're doing.
Okay.
It's just that when you're a child and you go through those three, they are in a linear fashion. Once you become an adult, it becomes kind of non-linear.
Okay.
Which is the last time I can actually, well, the second to last time over the next, say, 15 years, I can say that Zelda was in some respect non-linear.
What did you think of the music in the Forest Temple?
Very chilling, very haunting.
I did not like it. I didn't like it at all. The Forest Temple, like, it sounded like Yoshi in the background. Like, you know, just like Yoshi sound effects. I didn't like it. Honestly, if I had to say, my favorite temple would have been would probably have been the Shadow Temple.
Shadow Temple?
Yeah. I just like that gory, eerie type style that they brought into that temple.
Now, fun fact. I actually didn't beat the Shadow Temple by myself, unassisted, until the 3DS remake came out and I played it. And that wasn't... I didn't beat the Shadow Temple myself until maybe 2013, 2014. Yeah, that late.
Wow.
And
why is
every
that?
other time I had assistance because I would always get lost.
In the Shadow Temple?
Yeah, I would get lost and just the whole anesthetics of it would freak me out. So I was
interesting.
like, oh, screw this. Give me some help. Help.
Okay.
Of course, my favorite temple was the Fire Temple, but I might be the only one there.
Well, tell me about it. Why is it your favorite temple?
The music, the atmosphere, the fact that I get a giant hammer to beat people over the head with, and the boss of Volvangia.
Oh, the dragon, right?
Yes. Just all those things combined, especially the music. God, the music was great in that temple. My God. That is probably one of the best songs on that whole soundtrack to me.
Honestly, I feel like playing it just so I can, remember it. I don't really remember.
Now, you have to understand when it comes to the Fire Temple, there was 2 versions of it. But one of them had to get nixed because people, I guess even back then, people complained because of the Islamic chants in it.
Oh, it had an Islamic chants.
Yeah, and people were mad about that. So then Nintendo had to change it in future releases of the cartridges.
Okay, let me look that up. I want to hear it.
Right.
Let's see. Just a quick little snippet,
Yeah. Okay, this is the original one, the one that was changed.
Version 1.0, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
Is
you
it really
see
Islamic chanting though?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know what they're saying? Is there?
No, I don't.
Why don't we look that up real quick? A little bit of dead air right now, but anyways, continue. So you said that you really enjoyed the music.
Yes. I felt that it really set the stage for what you have to do in the Fire Temple.
Okay.
That and it's just like, for me, it's just like the opening to Twilight Princess. It's hauntingly beautiful in a way. And if you ask me, it's one of the better songs in the Zelda series. Once again, we're We're not going to talk about that game and how it had an entirely orchestrated soundtrack, but didn't do crap with it. But again,
I think that's for another day.
That's for another day,
Yeah.
because that's a rant and a half on my part.
We can, let's see. I'm not finding anything right now, but...
yeah, feel free to switch to the version 1.02 version to see what I'm talking about.
Honestly, I like this version. But alright, I'll play it real quick. Let's go. Let's back out a little bit.
That should be it right there.
Let's see.
Hopefully that's it. Yeah, just this part of the song, it would always grip me and motivate me to just get through it.
Right.
Just, oh man, the Fire Temple was just so awesome. Just the way that it was designed and I love it.
Oh, wow. If Allah wills, in the name of Allah, the most merciful and beneficial, then it repeats itself. And then it says, there is no God but Allah. God is good, believe in Allah. Allah the mighty God. Wow. I can see why it's controversial and why it was removed. They brought religion into it.
Yeah, and as we all know, religion is an incredibly divisive thing. So
yeah, but we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, too much of a gray area. It's too charged. I'm not gonna.
So overall, you really did enjoy playing Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And you do you hold it near and dear to you, or do you feel like there's?
It's possibly my third favorite Zelda game.
What's your first?
My first. Well, it was Twilight Princess for over 10 years.
Right.
But it's been usurped now by Breath of the Wild.
By Breath of the Wild.
Because
Okay.
that game was freaking awesome.
That's awesome because that's going to segue us right into Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
So, tell me a little bit about your experience playing Breath of the Wild. How did you feel like your first time getting into the game, and getting into it?
Now I'm gonna let you know. I was one of those people who were at the midnight launch of it.
Really?
And you have no idea how bad it is because everybody was there to buy a Switch and that game, and I was one of maybe 2 or 3 people who got it on Wii U first.
Okay.
That was pretty awkward.
Why?
And because I felt left out.
Ah, come on, man. Hey, you're experiencing Breath of the Wild, regardless.
You're right about that. And let me tell you, I stayed up to about 3 or 4 in the morning playing it, and going through it it's like my senses was just being bombarded by greatness. The art style, I love it. The gameplay, love it. The size of the world, mind-boggling. The map of Breath of the Wild. You could probably fit both the maps of Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess into the map of Breath of the Wild and still have space left over.
There definitely is a lot of space in that game. A lot to explore.
You have no idea how surprised I was when I actually hit a dead end.
Mm.
I was going through the Gerudo Desert. I was trying to find a shrine, and it actually told me that I had hit the edge of the world map. I was like, it actually ends? I just thought it went on infinitely at that point.
Right. That would be crazy if it could, but I don't think we're there yet when it comes.
Yeah, I don't think we're quite there yet, but still, Hyrule is freaking huge in that game.
Definitely.
Just freaking huge.
Very expansive, very immersive.
You know that this game is something special when I saw Nintendo's quarterly reports. This game, for like almost every Switch sold, this game is bought with it. Mm. And there have been over almost 5 million Switches sold when this report came out.
Wow.
And nearly every single one of them had this game attached with it.
Well, wasn't it also one of the first games that came out for the Switch too?
Yeah, it was a launch title for the Switch.
Well, I mean, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand. But I didn't think it would be that big of a phenomenon. I know it would be a phenomenon, but not at this level. This is basically saying Zelda is back.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nintendo was that embarrassed, being outsold 5-1 by Skyrim. They felt embarrassed. That game that came out in 2011 was the second worst selling Zelda game, 3D Zelda game made yet. I don't know what the first one is. I have to look that up. But it's the second worst. I'm going to assume the worst selling is probably Spirit Tracks. That game sucks.
I don't know. I didn't even touch that game.
Count yourself lucky. I did. But again, that's another rant for another day.
Right.
Because that game sucks balls.
Wow.
But when it comes to Breath of the Wild, if you haven't experienced this game, if you haven't played it, I implore you play it.
Definitely. I agree.
Get your hands on it. Try it out for a little while. It really will blow your mind.
Absolutely. It is a very good game.
But I have seen people out there who don't like Breath of the Wild, who thinks that it's a bad game.
I don't think it's a bad game. I think there should be a little more story to it, personally. But, that's just my opinion. Well, I understand that it's like, okay, you got to save Zelda from the castle, and you have to save the Guardians, if you so choose. Personally, I felt like there should have just been more to it, because the world is so big. It should give you more incentive to, explore and have, it does, but, story-wise, should push you to go to different areas within the map instead of just going to, okay, I don't remember all the village names, but the village with the Rita, with the Zora, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There should have been more to it. But that's my opinion, and I feel like they could do more. I don't know what the DLC is going to be about, but hopefully they, expand more on the story of, Breath of the Wild and, try to, make the world more whole in terms of, story. You know what I mean?
Believe me, if you want someone to blame for it not being a lot of story, blame Shigeru Miyamoto. He's very anti-story.
Yeah, the story, to me, the story seems very simplistic, It's very simplistic in the sense that, okay, you really only have 2 objectives,
Mm-hmm.
The third objective of collecting the shrines is all optional. You don't really need to. And getting the Master Sword isn't necessary too. But hey, like I said, more story to it would have been better. But
for what we've got, I'm not going to complain about it.
No.
Because
it's not a huge issue, I guess you could say, but
it's more of a nitpick.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's more of a nitpick, and I completely understand that too. And I was kind of like, I wish it had a bit more story to it, but for what we got, I'm more than happy with it.
Definitely, it's a beautiful game.
It probably is one of the best games I've ever played. It really is, especially after the fiasco in 2011. It really is a love letter to every Zelda fan, and I greatly appreciate that.
How many years was this game in development again?
They started development in 2012, I believe.
No, actually, it says here the tech demo for the Wii U was shown at E3 2011.
Yeah,
wow.
that was
June.
a tech demo.
Yeah,
but actual development started maybe around the end of about early 2012. That's when the development started. It was in development for 5 years.
5 years. That's crazy.
It was delayed twice. It was supposed to come out in 2015, but delayed. It was supposed to come out 2016, delayed for the Switch.
But why is that though? Why were there so many delays? Was it something? Was there some sort of bug that was causing the game to be unplayable on the Wii U, or?
It was because the delay. It was because of the physics. It's this game uses a very, very advanced physics engine, and I read that a developer wanted to create a puzzle to move pots using the wind. Al Numa said, okay. So when he played through that build of the game, he went to another place where there was pots. But he saw there was no pots there because the wind had already blown them away.
Okay.
It was basically, if we're going to create all of these systems for this gigantic world, they have to be able to work perfectly in this world. What happens in one part of the world will affect what happens in another part of the world. And it all had to come together perfectly. If not, then you would have had a pretty unplayable game. That
Right.
was the first delay. The second delay was so that it could be on the Switch. There technically wasn't anything wrong with it. They just wanted to put it on the Switch so that it could be a launch title for it.
A very good decision on their part.
It's paying off dividends.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely paying off dividends.
So let's see. Breath of the Wild was officially announced in a Wii U Direct presentation on January 23rd, 2013. Eiji Aonuma stated that the game intended to challenge what was expected of the Legend of Zelda franchise, such as having complete dungeons in a specific order. The game was already expected to have a long development time, so Nintendo released the Wind Waker HD for the Wii U. Oh, really? I did not know that. I didn't know that that Wind Waker was specifically brought to the Wii U so that it can, like,
mitigate the waiting time for Breath of the Wild.
Exactly. Huh.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes. The interesting thing about it is that I saw a build of the game that they showed off at the Game Awards in 2014. It looked completely different. There was a magic bar, and instead of the paraglider, there was like a sailing cloth like Link had in Skyward Sword.
Right.
But when the game was going to be moved over to the Switch, and we saw it at E3 2016, those two things were completely gone.
Right. Why is that?
Why is that? I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure why that was, because that was the same thing that happened in Twilight Princess. It had when we saw like screenshots of it before it came out, it had a magic meter and all of that, but in the final product, it was out.
Okay.
I'm guessing Nintendo is anti-magic meter now. I don't know.
I don't know. That is kind of weird. When did it stop? I think it.
The last 3D
Majora?
Zelda game that had a magic meter was Wind Waker.
It had a magic meter?
Yes, Wind Waker had a magic meter.
I don't remember that, huh?
Oh, it does.
I could have sworn it was. I thought, in my recollection, I thought it was Majora's Mask. You know.
No, it was Wind Waker. That
Okay.
was the last one that had the magic meter that was on a home console.
It's How do you feel about the weaponry in the game
Okay.
and the durability?
Okay. Let's get this little chestnut out of the way. Yes, durability sucks.
Definitely.
Do I think that it needed to be taken out of the game? No, because it proves who the scrubs are and who the real Zelda OGs are. So yes, it is a great tool to weed out the chaff from the bosses.
I think you're going a little too far, Franklyn.
Sorry. This is something that I've talked about before.
Right.
And the only thing I can say is, if you don't like the durability, get good, son. Get good.
Well, definitely, it forces you to be more strategic when it comes to combat, you know?
Yes, it really rewards ingenuity in combat.
Absolutely.
I believe the durability really rewards those who use the environment to their advantage.
Absolutely.
And there's plenty of environment to use to your advantage in that game. It's kind of mind-blowing when you really stop to think about it.
Even using the Sheikah Slate as well. You know,
yeah.
once you
Once
power
you-
up stasis.
Yeah. Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah.
for those of you who haven't played it.
Oh, wow. Let me see. So in North America, the special edition included the game, a tapestry map, a Sheikah Slate carrying case, a soundtrack with 24 songs, and a Sheikah eye coin.
Yep.
The Master Edition included the same content as well as a statue of the Master Sword.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And it was glorious.
How much do you think that went for?
$200, I think.
$200?
Yeah.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah, I know someone who got the Mastered Edition just to get the statue. Just to get the statue.
That's a lot of commitment, man.
That is, but at least I can say that they're fans.
True. That is true. That's just,
That's the most that I can say is that they are fans.
I kind of want to see how much it costs right now, like, on Amazon. Just to see, like, if there's anyone selling it. Because I'm sure it's a hefty price. Let me see. $129 right now on the Nintendo website. Almost $300, $229 for the Master Edition for the Nintendo Switch. That's crazy. Some are selling it for almost $400.
Yep.
That's insane.
Oh yeah, I know.
They're selling a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Link action figure for $379. God.
You know what? As an aside, hey, Nintendo, do me a favor. When you are making the next Smash game for the Switch, because we know it's coming, give me Breath of the Wild Link and Breath of the Wild Zelda.
I think that's a strong possibility that will happen. It will happen, I'm sure. And if it doesn't, I'm sure it'll be like a costume. You know what I mean?
Give me that. And if you give me Breath of the Wild Zelda, change her moveset. Yeah. Change it. She needs help.
I think, I was thinking, like, maybe if they do bring him in, like, the Breath of the Wild Link, they could switch up his final smash and make it something with, like, the Sheikah Slate, creating, like, stasis on the enemy. And then just, kind of like how he does his final smash in Smash 4.
Yes.
But just with the Sheikah Slate, like, he's targeting, like, and freezing every enemy around him. And then, you could, like, do a whole bunch of, like, hits to create a bunch of damage. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking right now. Or maybe something with, like, the ancient arrows.
Work. That would be awesome. I would love that. Link is already my main. So just giving me the Link that's wearing the champion's tunic and the Hylian trousers, that's just, c'est magnifique.
Absolutely. What did you think of the how do you say, I forgot the term for it, but the music and how it's minimal. The minimalism inside of the music for Breath of the Wild.
Okay. Unpopular opinion among Zelda fans, I love the minimalistic score of the game. I felt it fit perfectly. Since this is supposed to be a Hyrule that is deep in decline and is completely screwed, I think the minimalistic, nature-focused soundtrack works.
I agree.
Believe me, I've seen all over the comments sections for songs. They're like, oh, the soundtrack sucks. They missed an opportunity to really give us good Zelda music. Why did they have to make it so minimalistic? And all this other stuff. Well, then on the other side, I've seen 8 hours of soothing Breath of the Wild music.
I think the music's... I like the minimalism inside of Breath of the Wild, but the one thing I am a little bit disappointed is the Lost Woods and going, like, I would have actually liked if they did a callback to Saria's song or the Lost Grove like they did in Twilight Princess. But I mean, hey, I guess maybe they didn't think about it, or
they might want it to try and differentiate it from the other games.
True, that is true.
Because Breath of the Wild, it really is differentiating itself.
It actually takes place 10,000 years. 10,000 years after Ocarina of Time. That's insane.
That is a long time.
But you know what? That leaves them open. That leaves them open to creating Zelda, other Zelda games in between, Ocarina and Breath of the Wild. So.
Oh yeah.
I guess it kind of works. That's kind of cool. I guess. Anumala touched the idea the history of Hyrule may be changed from previous games. Revised. Interesting. I don't know.
Yes.
What do you think of the armor in the game or the clothes? The ability to customize your character's outfits.
Love it.
I love it too.
I freaking love it. It's something that I felt Zelda has needed for a long time, and they finally delivered on
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
And I actually am not afraid to say this, but I actually kind of don't like the Tunic of the Wild. I prefer wearing the Champion's Tunic.
I agree with you on that part. The part where you don't like the champion of the wild tunic. I didn't really like it. In fact, I kind of like having him wear the Ocarina of Time outfit. You know, kind of makes him look like. Well, it makes him look like Ocarina Link, but
Yeah.
But if anything, my favorite armor in the game so far, I've beaten the game, but the armor that I like the most is I forget what it's called, but it's it has a hood. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You get it in Kakariko Village, I think it's called, or is it called Hatano?
The Hylian hood.
The Hylian hood, the whole set. I like the whole set of it.
The Hylian set.
Yeah, I love that's the armor. I don't really particularly like the color, but I tend to dye it. Spoilers alert, you can dye your clothes, but I usually dye it black or white, or what it kind of makes him look like an Assassin's Creed type of guy. But that.
Same here. I like that. I do that too. But I mostly wear the Hylian hood, the Champion's tunic, and the Hylian trousers.
Now, have you actually spoilers again? Have you actually upgraded, the durability or not the durability, but the defense
stats?
Yeah.
I've maxed out the hood. I maxed out the trousers. I just need to find Dinral so I can max out the Champion's.
Do you find it hard to get the ingredients after you do once you're at the final level of the armor or clothes that you get? No?
Oh my god. Again, I hate chasing down the dragons because I tend to miss. I'll admit it. I'm about 70% accurate with the bow.
Right.
Which is why I tend to just go in and just beat things over the head with my swords. So I'm not gonna lie about that.
Okay. But have you actually managed to collect any have you collected all the armor in the game?
I'm very close to getting it all.
Well, what are you missing?
I really need to get the Ocarina of Time amiibo so I can finish the Ocarina set.
Okay.
Because I only have the Trousers of Time, so.
I only have the I think I have the tunic or the hat. I'm not really sure. I haven't completed it myself, but excuse me. I have the Dark Link outfit. It's close, it's close enough.
Yeah.
The only thing that I don't particularly like about that is that it can't excuse me. It can't be upgraded. It's kind of, and then the Tingle tunic is basically the same thing. You know what I mean? It makes you faster at night.
Yeah.
So it kind of to me, if we're gonna talk DLC armor, I think the tunic, the Tingle tunic, sorry. It's kind of redundant, in terms of its abilities.
Tell me about it.
I think
it allows you to be a pervert at night really fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just how it is.
I know that I still have to collect a lot of the armor. I have to look for the I think it's called the rubber outfit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Here's a pro tip. There's actually someone in Terrytown that actually sells you armor pieces.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you go there, he's on the second floor of one of the houses there.
Okay.
If you ever do like I did, and you somehow broke the Hylian shield, you can go there and get a new one. Okay.
That thing can break? Really?
Yes, it can.
Wow.
It happened to me. I was fighting a guardian, and I'm doing my thing. Doing all my flips and my parries and all that. I didn't parry in time. I put my shield up. Blew my Hylian shield up.
Ouch.
So I immediately teleported out of there and got me a new shield.
I cut the crap and I figure, you know what? I'm going to play it safe. I'm getting the Guardian Shield. It saves you so much trouble from dealing with the Guardians, and having a little Guardian sword or whatever just to cut off the legs of the Guardians makes fighting them so much easier. But parrying, obviously, It's implemented in the game for a reason. Yes. I do it sometimes if I don't have the Guardian Shield, because I know that thing is, its durability is not very good outside of Guardian battles, just like the Guardian weapons themselves.
Yeah, that is true. That is true, but there's one thing that I do want to say about the music, like going back there.
Okay.
You don't know how jarring it is. You're just like walking through Hyrule Field, minding your own business, riding Epona, and all of a sudden you hear the scare chord. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
You have no idea how many times I was riding Epona. I hear the scare chord come up. I see that targeting reticule on me. I'm trying to get out of there. I get stuck on like a rock or a tree or something. I get blown up.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Guardians. I have to say, myself personally, at first, like when you're starting the game, stay out of Central Hyrule.
Yeah.
Stay
unless you feel really brave.
Unless you have cojones of steel, stay out of there.
Absolutely.
Because that place is Guardian Central.
Oh. My first time around, yeah, no. No, it was not fun. But once I played Master Mode, I was like, you know what? I know what to do now. I know what to do now. I'm not going to have that much of a problem.
And then you got wrecked, didn't you?
No. I can parry. I can parry like the rest of them,
well,
pretty good.
Then,
yeah.
Well then, excuse me, sir.
Well, it does help that I have like fairies too,
Well, that does help, son.
Absolutely, man.
That really does help.
Actually, in my playthrough in Master Mode, I'm not going to save the Guardians. I don't feel like, honestly, I don't know how you felt about the whole saving the Guardians thing. I personally think it's cool, but I just don't like, what happens at the end. You know what I mean?
Ah, yeah, that.
It's not, I don't want to spoil it to that point if people who are watching this haven't played it. Yeah. But let's just say you feel pretty unsatisfied once you get to Ganondorf, It's not particularly difficult. At least for me, it wasn't. I felt kind of like, oh, so this is what happens. All right, like I wish I wouldn't have saved the Guardians, which is why in Master Mode I'm not going to. I kind of want the challenge,
Now I will give you a heads up. It's perfectly fine for you to do that. It's just then you have to suffer the consequences of that choice. And there are consequences. I hope you like boss rushes because that's what you're going to be dealing with.
I think that, I don't know, I just want to try it. Just to see how more difficult it's going to be once I get to Ganondorf, and experience that. But for you, like fighting Ganondorf, how was that for you when you first encountered him? When you first got to that part of the story? You don't have to go that much into specifics, but letting me know, like, was it difficult? Was it easy? Did it feel intimidating? What did you feel when you fought or saw Ganondorf for the first time up close?
I felt slightly intimidated, slightly.
Okay. Well, tell me about it.
And when I got into the boss fight, I had saved the Divine Beast, so that happened.
Yeah.
But it really, I feel like in a ways, on one hand, he's kind of an anticlimactic boss.
Absolutely.
Because of what happens when you save the Guardians.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're not really prepared for him, like if you didn't take the necessary steps to prepare for this, he can clean your clock if you're not careful.
Pretty much.
So basically, in a ways, I feel like for a final boss, he can be a trap because, of what happens when you save the 4 Divine Beasts. But he can still be pretty tough. Especially when he enters the second half of the battle when he's covered by that fiery aura. Yeah. Your timing then is going to be put to the test.
Yeah.
But I have to say, like, in his final form, when he basically says, you know what, screw this, that's when he really becomes an anticlimactic boss.
Unsatisfying battle. Very unsatisfying. It felt disappointing. Just completely disappointing of what the final battle is typically like in, when you fight Ganondorf in his second or alternate form in other Zelda games. Like for instance, like in Ocarina of Time, it was pretty tough. A little bit.
He went from, in Ocarina of Time, you basically playing ping pong with him.
I'm talking about a second form.
Yeah, I know. Him being pretty difficult to, in Wind Waker, you have an epic sword fight where he dual wields swords and gives me my favorite Zelda moment of all time, when he just looks at Zelda, smacks the crap out of her, and goes back to fighting you like nothing happened.
Yeah.
To Twilight Princess, when you basically are going sword to sword with him. Breath of the Wild, it's like 99% of the game is just, God, greatest game of all time. Just,
Absolutely.
Greatest experience of my entire life. So when you get to the definitely final battle, it's kind of like, just
disappointing. Nothing but disappointment, in my opinion. I didn't find it difficult. It was incredibly easy. It was incredibly easy to fight that second form. It basically kind of holds your hand. It's absolutely.
It's like 99% of the game was developed by the younger talent at Nintendo.
And then Miyamoto stepped in.
That 1%! Aonuma Miyamoto stepped in for that final boss battle. And it kind of leaves a sad taste in your mouth. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself an important question.
And what's that?
Do you consider a game to be bad if the final boss is unsatisfactory? When 99% of the game is basically legendary status.
It's all up to opinion, really.
It really is all up to opinion. It's like saying you're watching a bad movie, but that last 20 to 30 minutes is the stuff of legends. Mm-hmm. When it pulls out and it becomes it gives you a really good ending that leaves you happy. Or do you consider a good movie bad when you flip it around and like that last 20, 30 minutes sucks? It's really up to opinion.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, if you don't really think about the final boss battle,
then it's a great game.
That 99% is the stuff of legends.
I would say for me, personally, it's more like an 80%. I'd say maybe 10% of it is more of the story. How I wish it was more. There was more to it. I think that for me, it didn't ruin my experience whatsoever. I just wish there was more to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And post stuff, post story type things. I know Zelda doesn't really delve into that kind of stuff, post game after you fight Ganondorf or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. They could have changed that up this time around. I'm glad that they changed up a lot in the game. I appreciate the fact that they put in the physics and the rock climbing. That's fun. I think climbing is the most fun thing to do in that game.
Until it starts raining.
Until it starts raining and until you run out of stamina.
Yeah.
Stamina is... Alright, I'm going to talk about stamina for a tiny little bit. It's a good idea. I just wish that the stamina bar would last a little longer than it should. Even with, collecting all the spirit orbs. It feels like, you could be running for 3 seconds and it's already gone. You know what I mean? It just feels like it should have been a little longer, a little slower to decrease. But I understand, if it was slower, you could abuse it more. You know what I mean? I guess it was for balancing purposes. Mm-hmm. I'm not really, I think that's why they made it the way it is in the game. But like I said, it's not really like a major gripe for me. But, at the end of the day, it gets the job done, and there's also plenty of ways to replenish your stamina bar or even have an extra stamina bar, And I like that they included all those sort of things. Speaking of which, I'm going to segue right into it. I love the fact that you can cook in this game and create potions and elixirs and all sorts of stuff. That's incredible. I absolutely love that, and I'm so glad that they put that into this game. And I honestly hope that they put that into future Zelda titles.
You have no idea, like, the memes that I've seen of, like, all the Links getting together being terrified of Breath of the Wild because he's either A, a fat bat, or B, a relentless murderer. Oh my god. You have no idea how happy it makes me to see that.
I think it's great. I think it's great, man.
It really is great. I love it. But to get back to how you felt about story, I want to tell you a little information that probably not a lot of Zelda fans know about.
All right. What's that?
And now here's the first of my truth bombs. The reason why Zelda doesn't really have that deep of a story is because of the man who made the series, Shigeru Miyamoto. Now, back in around 2006, 2007, when the Wii came out, there was Link's crossbow training. What we got out of that game is the result of what happens when Shigeru Miyamoto isn't told no. Why do I say that? The developers of the game wanted it to be a main series game, and they wanted it to be a direct sequel to Twilight Princess. And it was supposed to be bigger and better than what that game was.
Right.
It was supposed to actually have a legit story. It was supposed to be bigger and better than what Twilight Princess was. And don't get me wrong, Twilight Princess was an amazing game. But they were building this up to be bigger and better than even that was. But Miyamoto put the kibosh on it. He just wanted it to be a simple shooting game because Miyamoto does not like story. He's not a story guy. He believes that the gameplay should do the talking. Hell, that game wasn't even supposed to have a boss in it. But the developers clawed for it, they fought for it, and the most that we got was Star-Lord being back in the game as a boss. Miyamoto didn't even want to have that.
Really?
Yes, really.
Wow, that's crazy. I never played the Link's crossbow training game, but do you think that it's maybe that they're intimidated by the fact that like Miyamoto is like the most senior person, one of the most senior people at Nintendo?
Pretty much.
Do you think that they fear that they might get fired?
Okay. Here's the thing that you have to understand is that we people, we have egos.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that.
But people who are truly great know how to check their ego at the door and do what's good for business. But Miyamoto has an unchecked ego. For a long time, before the Switch came out and then the waning years of the Wii U, Miyamoto was basically seen as a god among us inside the company. Yeah, I'm not kidding. People in the industry, and especially within Nintendo, revered this man as a god.
I think he let that get way over his head. You know what I mean? Like, and inflated his ego a little too much.
Now, I know that I'm going off of the subject of Zelda, but to all my Paper Mario fans out there, blame him for Sticker Star and Color Splash. Why those games suck.
Yeah.
And why they're not real RPGs.
Right.
Blame him. Because he said, no story in Mario. Intelligent Systems said, yes sir, massa.
It's terrible.
That's what happened.
It's terrible.
It really is. How are you going to have an RPG without a story? It's not an RPG. At that point, it's just an art project.
That's really bad. That is really bad.
I digress. Believe me, if I ever get to come back here, one of these days I'm going to talk about the Triforce of Suck that was on the Wii. And believe me, that'll be an interesting story to tell.
What about the unholy, the unholy Zelda games, the CDI ones?
We don't talk about those. We don't talk about those in these parts.
No, you're definitely welcome to the podcast again.
Oh yeah.
I'm having fun talking to you.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Me, when I get to talk about the unholy Triforce on the Wii and all of the information I've dug up on those games, I'm gonna hurt some feelings. I'm definitely gonna come for your feelings and your childhoods.
Oh man, that's crazy.
But again, back on Miyamoto, he has an unchecked ego. They basically allowed this man to do whatever he wants. You know how people complain about the circle pad on the 3DS?
Yeah.
Blame Miyamoto.
Are you talking about the extra nub, or are you talking about the original? Like...
The original 3DS. People complain that some games are unplayable because it didn't have a control stick. Blame Miyamoto on that one.
But why? Like, I don't understand. Tell me about that. Why did Miyamoto? What does Miyamoto have to do with that?
Miyamoto was the one who was directly involved in the R&D and development of the 3DS handheld.
Oh wow.
He was directly involved. He had his head so far up his own anus that he was pushing for the circle pad to become the new standard in handheld gaming.
Oof. That's not.
And for anyone who's ever played Smash on the 3DS, new standard, my butt.
Yeah, you have to get used to it. You have to definitely train yourself.
New standard, my butt.
You have to train yourself for that one. Yeah, I can agree with that. Some games were unplayable. I couldn't play... I'll be perfectly honest with you. This is totally off topic, but I couldn't play Kid Icarus whatsoever. I could not play it. The controls felt terrible. I didn't like how, you need to use buttons to like move the control, like the cameras and stuff. And the control stick just didn't feel that, how do you say, 1-to-1 in that game.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I don't know if it's compatible like
with the Circle Pad Pro.
With the new 3DS and its
and
little nub
and its little C nub.
Yeah, that thing is horrible as well. I cannot use it. I tried to use it to play Smash Brothers. It doesn't feel. It just feels bad. It just feels bad and inaccurate. Like for a control stick, I feel like there has to be like a feeling of it actually, flicking, like, you know what I mean, like moving. While you're using the C stick on the DS, you don't have that feeling of like, maybe that's just me, but that's just like I don't know how to describe it. It's like a aesthetic that I like. The tactile feeling of the controller, of the control sticks moving. It feels better. It feels more, to me, it feels more 1-to-1.
Once again, blame Miyamoto. That was all him.
I had no idea.
All him. And that's why for the development of the Switch, they kept his butt far away.
Good.
They kept him far away.
Well, let me ask you this: how do the controls feel on the Switch? Seeing as you have
much better.
You actually have the Joy-Cons with you, right?
Why? Yes, I do.
Could I actually see one of those?
Oh, of course. Also, for those of you who don't have one, if you can find one, please go and buy a Nintendo Switch for the MSRP price of $299.99.
Oh,
believe me, you will not regret it. It is a hybrid home handheld console. Please go out there, buy one, support this thing.
Speaking of support the podcast too. Support the Arc Hour, please.
Please support this podcast because that Nintendo advertisement was brought to you by the Arc Hour podcast.
Absolutely.
Here you go.
Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's pretty small, but...
It's small, but as you can see, the stick feels a lot better than on the 3DS.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like an actual control stick.
Your Switch isn't on, right?
Oh, no.
So I can mess around with the buttons a little?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So actually feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Feels ergonomic.
Uh-huh. It has to be.
Let me see.
Because, as they said, the Switch has the DNA of every Nintendo console in it. And that is a Joy-Con, my friends, for those of you who don't know it. This is the other Joy-Con.
Now, does this run off Bluetooth or?
Bluetooth.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yes, you know that this is... The interesting thing about the Switch is that it's actually running on mobile parts. So you can actually say that it's kind of closer to a phone.
Right. It kind of has that feel. It kind of has that look to it, too.
Yeah.
It reminds me kind of like an iPhone, Android type tablet, you know?
Yeah.
iPod or whatever.
Also, for those of you out there who don't know this, that is actually the reason why the Switch is hard to find right now, because Nintendo is competing with parts with Apple. And honestly, they don't have the war chest to compete with them over parts like that.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
That's why the Switch is so hard to find right now.
Yeah, no, I you know, like a month or two ago, I went to our local GameStop, and the guy was telling me we have a whole bunch of Switches. My girl shows up like a month later, they're all gone.
Mm-hmm.
They're all gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, be careful buying Switches online from GameStop.
Why is that? Why? What's wrong with
them?
them?
They sell them in bundles, and they are outrageously priced. Like for example, Splatoon 2 bundle. It comes with the game. It comes with the Switch. It comes. I believe it also comes with the carrying case, the Splatoon 2 carrying case. I believe they're They're charging close to $500 for it.
Well, let's look right now.
Yeah, just it's freaking outrageous looking up Switch bundles.
Oh my god.
Yeah, see?
It's like $400.
See?
$429.
See what I mean?
$299 basic. $359 for the Switch with what is that? Mario Kart 8?
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I don't know, man. I mean, that's still pretty pricey. I don't know. I mean, it comes with the game, so you at least have something to play with.
Yes.
I think like I don't. Did the Nintendo Switch? I mean, not the Switch. Did the Wii U come with like a pre-installed game or anything? Because I remember the Wii had.
The Wii had Wii Sports.
Right. Did the Switch have that?
For a while, the Wii U didn't have anything, but then they switched it up and they started selling like bundles that had games like Nintendo Land, Mario Kart 8, and New Super Mario Brothers U. I believe Super Mario 3D World.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I really like this controller. I like how it feels.
The Joy-Con feels really damn good.
Even the way the buttons just how they bounce back. They feel great.
It feels very tactile.
Exactly. This is great.
And I love the feeling of feel the other Joy-Con. Like have them both in your hands.
Oh yeah, definitely. These feel great.
Oh yeah. They're awesome for playing Splatoon. Awesome.
You mean separately or together as well?
I play them separately because the right Joy-Con is where the gyroscope is for the motion controls.
So this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
That's really neat. I like this. Well, I may be getting one for my birthday.
You definitely should.
I may. I'm not really 100% sold at the moment, but I mean, I think it's a great device, but I'm just, I'm still debating whether or not, like...
Well, think of it like this. You know how when we were growing up, we had, like, Game Boys and DS's, and we had them in our pockets, and, like, the shoulder buttons would get messed up, so it means we have to take the whole thing apart?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't have to do that with the Switch. You can just buy another Joy-Con.
That is true.
Like,
can I ask something about the Switch? Is it multi-touch? Is it a multi-touch? Is it even a touch screen?
It is a multi-capacitive screen, just like on an iPhone or an iPad.
Okay, well that's a step up from the Wii U.
Oh yeah, definitely so.
What? I know we're totally off topic because it's Zelda that we're supposed to be talking about, but
yeah.
What did you think of the the Wii U gamepad?
What did I think of the Wii U gamepad? When you're coming off of a console, the Wii, that allows you multiple ways to play it, and then you come to the Wii U and it has the gamepad, which was very restrictive in what you could do with it. It's kind of a kick to the face a little bit.
I didn't like it. I don't like it. Doesn't to me. It doesn't feel ergonomic to my hand whatsoever.
No.
It's very,
God, no.
It's very bulky, very clumsy. The screen, it's not multi-touch. Maybe because it's not.
It's like they took a DS touchscreen, blew it up a little bit, and like put it in a tablet. That's how I think it is.
A very low grade tablet.
Yeah.
A very low grade tablet.
But then again, like maybe 2 years into the Wii U's lifespan, I realized what Nintendo was trying to do, and that's become independent from the television screen. And you know, the Switch is what you get when you get there. It's very seamless. It's easy to use. It feels great in the hands.
Absolutely.
Just, oh my goodness, I love this thing so damn much.
It feels great. It feels great.
It does. Believe me.
The only issue I have is the dock and how it potentially can scratch up your screen. I don't particularly like that, and I would hope that like for later models, for later releases of Switches, they'll find like some sort of like type of way where it doesn't, you know what I mean, like. Maybe change the dock or something. Maybe have options with docks.
There are actually third-party options out there now.
Oh, there are?
Yeah, there are.
Let me see some.
Just like if you were to go to like Amazon and look up Nintendo Switch dock, you could probably find some pretty interesting third-party alternatives to Nintendo's dock. Like there was a dock I saw that had like extra fans in it and had like a holding holster for Joy-Cons.
Okay.
I was like, wow.
Oh, I like this dock.
Yeah.
Oh, it's from Nyko. Okay.
Yeah.
They're still around? I didn't even think they made anything anymore. I thought they fell into obscurity. That's crazy. Well, I like that dock. It looks nice. I'd probably get something like that. It wouldn't damage my console. So if I do end up getting one, which I may. I have a strong... I'm like 60% there. At the moment, I'm like 60% there. Who knows what'll happen in the next month or two? It might go up from there. I might end up getting it, like I said, on my birthday.
Hey, if you do, you'll be able to join us at our Switch parties and have your own Switch.
Oh, you have Switch parties? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
We have Switch parties, man. Like, we all have Switches. Like, there's like 8 or 9 of us. We show up. We have Switch parties.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind being a part of that.
Like it's so cool. I'm glad I got one.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, that definitely. There's a lot of potential with this system, for sure. It just depends on what kind of games they're gonna have coming out, like third-party games, Because I think Nintendo's gotta, start allowing more third-party companies, to start coming into their console because. More sales, right? More sales, more money, more all this, more all that. You know what I'm saying? But I know that a lot of people left when... I remember when the 3DS came out, there was this talk of, like, so many companies jumping in on board. And then, like, once the 3DS got sold or put out, a lot of companies decided, like, to back out of it. You know what I mean? Like, that disappointed me.
Well, that was because Nintendo shot themselves in the foot by hitching all of their chickens onto the concept of 3D.
Yeah.
3D was proven to not be the way to go.
It really isn't. Not in my opinion. I think I've used a 3D on my 3DS probably 5 times, maybe. I don't even know. That's how little I actually use the 3D. If it was up to me, unnecessary feature. Don't need it.
That's why I got a 2DS. That's why I'm gonna buy a new 2DS XL.
Okay. Oh right, that actually looks really good too. By the way,
that is a sexy handheld.
It looks really nice. All right, and we're back. Technical difficulties arise, so we had to kind of cut the video, but we're back. So
yeah, fucking orcs appeared. We had to go slam real quick.
Yeah. So we were talking about the 2DS.
Yes, and how it is an incredibly sexy handheld that soon will be in my hands because, my God, That looks like an incredibly awesome piece of hardware.
Yeah, it looks great. I think it looks very nice. But is there any other things that you want to talk about when it comes to Breath of the Wild? Like any last sort of things maybe you feel that you missed, forgot to talk about?
I'm just hoping that the next DLC is good, and I want to see how they tackle not having a blood moon to revive enemies. Since, again, spoiler alert, the next DLC takes place after you beat Ganon.
Right.
And I just want to know, how are they going to pull that off? There's just so many questions. My God, I have so many questions. I'm hoping that, because they've already confirmed that every Zelda game after this is going to follow the Breath of the Wild blueprint. I'm like, thank God. And I'm just hoping that they put a little bit more story into it. That they refine some things that they feel were off. That they listen to player feedback and maybe increase the durability of weapons so people won't complain that much. Even though it doesn't bother me because
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. The durability's fine where it's at. I mean,
yeah.
it can prove to be a little annoying at times, but if you're playing the game and you know what you're doing, it doesn't really matter. You'll always have a weapon.
Also, I want to address these Zelda players out there that grew up only on Ocarina of Time forward. Just because you grew up on those games doesn't mean Breath of the Wild sucks. It just means you played Zelda games that weren't actually Zelda games.
Oh, man.
For those of you who grew up playing the 2D Zeldas and everything after that, and you find Breath of the Wild to be amazing, maybe now you realize that everything after Ocarina wasn't a real Zelda game. It just had these Zelda aesthetics around it.
Okay.
And welcome back to playing a real Zelda game.
Oh, God. Listen, I want to talk about something real quick. Are you looking forward? Because I know I am. I don't know if they're out yet. But the Breath of the Wild Guardian amiibos. As in Urbosa,
Champion amiibos.
Daruk, and all those other characters.
Champion amiibos.
Champion amiibos.
Champions. I need to pre-order my Urbosa.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I need to pre-order my Mifa. I need to get those amiibos in my hands. Because they look amazing.
They look amazing. I wonder what kind of function they'll have in the game, though.
I wonder what the function's going to be, too. I really do. Because I know because of those amiibos, Breath of the Wild is going to get an update so those amiibos work.
They're probably going to fix that exploit with the cell shading. So a lot of people are going to be disappointed in that. I think that's kind of the problem with a lot of the people online. They spread it out too much, so Nintendo takes notice. I mean, it's not a bad thing, obviously it helps the game work better, but you guys are trying to exploit things and then let everybody know, like, hey, look, while the game is still, creating content.
Just because you know a secret doesn't mean you need to tell everybody that secret.
What's that old expression? Loose lips sink ships or something?
Yep. Loose lips sink ships. Maybe you all should start applying that a little bit more.
A little bit, yeah. But it is what it is. I'm looking forward to the amiibo.
Oh, yeah.
I want it. I want that Urbosa one, too. But I also want Rivali. I like Rivali. Daruka! Whatever.
If there's one thing that I wish I could tell Nintendo, it's this. Don't completely tear, when you make the next Zelda game, don't completely start from scratch. Maybe, I don't know, take some of the building blocks from Breath of the Wild and use them so that we don't have to endure 5-6 year development times again. Because at this point, the next Zelda won't come out till 2022.
Oof. That's a long time, man. We're going to be a lot older then.
Now, if they would just reuse the world of Breath of the Wild for the next Zelda game, yeah, it might not have that shiny new look, but we'll have it in 2019, 2020. It would be a lot more feasible then.
I think more like, yeah, like 2019 is probably where how long it would probably take. I mean, if they're just using the same assets, they could even do it as quick as like 6 months, like Majora's Mask. You know, they
Yeah, it only
recycled
took them like
everything.
6 months to make Majora's Mask.
Yeah, so it's totally feasible. You know, I don't really know that much about like, like designing a game, so I could be talking out of my butt. I'm not really sure.
That's mostly why games nowadays have such quick turnaround times for sequels, because they tend to like reuse assets but just like make them a little shinier.
You know who's good at that?
Let me guess. Activision?
Yeah,
EA?
absolutely.
Ubisoft?
Oh my god. They're still running the same. Well, I don't know anymore because I don't play any of the current, any of the current Call of Duties, but there's for the longest time they were still running that. I think it's called the Unreal Engine, the Unreal, one of the older ones. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. All they ever do is just fix up the textures to make it look a little shinier.
Yeah, that's all it is. Just putting more coat on old textures. That's all it is.
If I can be perfectly honest with you, I know I'm probably gonna catch some flack about this. I like Black Ops. I like it. I like the first one, the second, and the third.
Oh, no,
but I like it.
I don't think any less of you. I'm just silently judging you.
Well, hold on. Like, I like it. I don't care about the story. Yeah, okay, it's updated textures, little things are moved around, whatever, right? I enjoy it simply because it's kind of fun to me. I like shooting people in game, not in real life, and I like killing zombies. I like the zombies. That's primarily what I play. But will I get any other Call of Duty like Modern Warfare, Advanced Warfare, whatever the hell other kind of crap they have? No, it's not my thing. I just want to play a little bit of multiplayer in tiny little bursts and zombies in a medium-sized chunk, right? That's it. But no, I really think they should update their game and use another engine and fix everything up. Because it's like you're playing the same game. Really, they could make Call of Duty Black Ops and just add DLC until the end of time. No one cares about the story. I don't think I know anyone in my group of friends that plays Call of Duty for the story. In fact, I think when it comes to like their advertising, I know this is totally off topic, but I just want to get to this little point. Like when it comes to Call of Duty, no one cares about the story. It's when they say, "Oh, this is the newest, best game of the year," all this and all that. Like you can run on walls and do all this sort of crap. Okay, but is it really applied into like? Is it really applied outside of the campaign? Like when they do their advertisements, I'm not trying to completely like forgive my English, but shit on their fucking franchise. I'm just saying like they need to change things up. They need to be more intuitive, more new. Like, you know what I mean? Like they have to do things like thinking out of the box. That's my opinion. I don't know. Maybe there are people that'll defend it. It is what it is. But like I said, it's my opinion.
Hey, somebody had to say it.
Nobody cares about the campaign. Let's be honest.
Somebody had to say it.
You're not playing it for the campaign. You're playing it for multiplayer. So remove the story. Get rid of that garbage. No one cares about the features in the campaign. Let's be honest. Most of it, maybe 10% of it is applied in multiplayer. Maybe. And all the good guns that are usually in the story aren't really that good in multiplayer. Or they're not really in multiplayer. As far as I can remember, there were a couple of guns I don't remember getting in Black Ops 1. Maybe I'm just remembering wrong. I don't know. But with that being said, fix your shit. You crap out games every day. Every day, basically. But when it comes to what I'm trying to get back at, is that yes, Nintendo can do the same thing when it comes to Zelda, meaning that they can run the same engine, use the same assets that are used in a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and create a new Zelda game. It doesn't have to primarily be like the same Hyrule. It could be changed up. It could even be Termina. How amazing would that be if you could play in Termina, but the world is the size of Breath of the Wild? That'd be amazing. But, that's just... ideas at the top of my head. I don't know. Do you have any last words, Franklin?
You basically said everything I was going to say.
Okay.
The only thing that I can say is for those of you out there, have you ever, have we told you the word of Pikachu, our Lord and Savior?
I think religion's not a very good thing, a good topic right now. But
I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about Pokemon.
Pokemon. No, but you know, I think we should wrap it up here. You know.
Yes.
We pretty much hit over an hour already. So, do you have any plugs? Anything you want to plug into your into the show right now?
I have DeviantArt.
What's your DeviantArt?
It is Dragonlord Frankie at deviantart.com.
Okay.
I have a Twitch account, which is basically the same, just twitch.tv. I have a Facebook account. You can find me at Franklyn Anderson on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel, The Lord of Dragons. Just look it up, punch it in there. Right now, I only have some streams I've done off of the PS4. I plan to do more streaming off of the Switch, and I plan on actually diving in and making some videos of my own talking about the history of gaming. Because, quite frankly, if you were born around the time the PlayStation came out, you've been pumped full of lies. I'm not kidding. There are people out there who say gaming started with the PlayStation. Bull.
Absolutely not.
Bull. I can tell you, it goes a lot farther than that. And no, Sony ain't the greatest company on the planet. No. Why? Because right now, they are screwing their customers right up the hoo-ha.
Weren't they hacked recently again?
Yes. PSN's always freaking down. You have some of the heads basically saying, why would we do backwards compatibility? Those games suck. They look bad. They look terrible. Yes, they actually said that.
I think that's opinion. That's an opinion. That's not really something that they can...
Oh no! This is from the head.
No, I understand.
It's the head of Sony Europe who said this. And if terrible. The head is saying that, that means it ain't gonna happen.
I don't know. I hear that they're both failing, both Microsoft and Sony.
Microsoft can't make an exclusive to save its life. Okay? And then when they announced that their Xbox Anywhere program that basically is tying Microsoft, the Xbox One and Windows together, at that point in time, Microsoft was just saying, please take us out back, shoot us in the head, put us out of our misery. Whereas Sony is basically saying, yeah, no, we're not going to have crossplay. Screw that noise. We aren't going to have crossplay at all.
I think that's a bad decision on their part.
That is a bad decision.
It's a very bad decision.
People who say, for example, have Rocket League, Nintendo is willing to freaking do it. Nintendo wants to have crossplay. Freaking Nintendo, but Sony is saying no.
Sony's like the bitter X.
This is what happens when you're at the top and that success gets to your head.
I really consider them like the bitter X when it comes to their relationship with Nintendo.
I would actually consider Nintendo to be the bitter X in this.
You think
case.
So?
When Nintendo got their asses kicked in the 6th generation and the GameCube was dead last, there was a company-wide edict that was put out. Make sure we come out before Sony does. Do everything in our power to hamper what Sony does. Nintendo, if you ask me, they're the bitter ones in this relationship. But you know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
Because right now, Sony is letting their success go to their head, and Nintendo is clearly taking advantage of it.
Right.
I'm just saying, folks, what do you want? Do you want a console with no exclusives and alright third-party games that you can get anywhere else? Then get an Xbox One. If you want to have a whole bunch of exclusives, but the company treats you like crap, hey, go get a PS4. But if you want to have a unique experience that has the added advantage of you being able to take it on the go, hey, get a Switch.
You can do that.
I see it.
You could definitely do that.
That's just how I see it.
Oh, excuse me.
I made the choice to get a Nintendo Switch, which you can get at GameStop at the MSR price of $299.99. I'm sorry, Nintendo. I'm trying to get my royalty check here.
No, but back to it. I think it's also, you know, people are gonna pick whatever they want. You know, it's all up to them.
Hey,
They could decide.
That's why we have a free economy.
Exactly.
That's why we're capitalists.
You have the choice. You have the freedom to pick whatever you want.
I love being a capitalist because that means if somebody's doing something I don't like, I can just go to the competition.
Yeah.
And so, you know, thank you for having me on here.
It's no problem.
Hopefully in the future we can really dig into some topics that can really get a fire burning underneath me. Because I got a few. The history of Miyamoto was one. The Triforce of Suck that was on the Wii is another one. My undying love of Pokemon. Jesus. There's just so many things that we can talk about.
Absolutely.
The eternal butt ramming of Mario. That's just another one.
Absolutely. We could totally do that another time.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, okay. So we're wrapping this up. So this was the Arc Hour podcast. I'm your host, Victor Arcadia.
And I'm Franklyn. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching the podcast. And remember to subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, whatever is going to be out there. At the moment, we don't know. But we're going to make a Twitter. We'll make a Twitter soon enough. Probably by the time this video's out, we'll have a Twitter.
Game responsibly, and remember, if you play Splatoon 2 and you use an arrow spray, burn your Switch.
We also have a YouTube channel too. It's well, I'll put the link in the description. Well, you'll probably know, but whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm tired. This has been a long podcast for me. But yeah, that's it. So with that, Victor signing out. Peace.